And now, live from Oahu, Mike Taylor.
All right. Was that exactly 5 minutes as we promised? How you boys doing? We're back. The Cowboys have won, bitches. Still not a first-place team because my Giants win again. But Dallas wins, too, with a backup quarterback, and Cooper Rush is now 2-0 in Dak Prescott's stead as the emergency backup quarterback after he shows up today, and the Cowboys look really efficient, really good in the first half, only for reality to kick in the second half and their limitations because of what they are when Rush is the quarterback showed themselves. But the defense played well against a Cincinnati team that looks not even close to the ball club it was last year. I think the Bengals will get better as the year goes on because they've got that badass at quarterback. But boy, on a day in which Dallas had to have efficient play from Rush and they had to have the defense carry the thing, and Tony Romo talked about this 3 or 4 times today, that Micah Parsons and other guys on defense have to be what carries a team sometimes, especially when your top quarterback is out. And that's what we saw. We saw the Cowboys defense play good, and Micah Parsons hides a lot of their warts because he's so good. But in winning time, when Micah got gassed and banged up, a little worried about that dude. We'll see what they say about him. I'm sure he's fine. Thank God they have the extra day because they don't play again until Monday night. But when Micah did get gassed and got dinged there toward the end of the game, other guys stepped up and made plays. Linebackers made good plays with the game on the line. And my dude Trayvon Diggs made he didn't probably make it. He made the tackle of the game in winning time to get Cincinnati off the field and give Dallas just enough time. And then Cooper Rush, of course, does just enough and makes just enough plays to get the Cowboys within distance for Brett Maher. And 50 yards in the NFL is not a routine kick. So credit Maher, a dude that they had given up on, a guy that they only brought in training camp because the 2 kickers they tried to have make the team, both of them sucked ass. And so you go back to Maher because you're desperate, and the kid wins a game for you week 2 and keeps the Cowboys at least hopeful 2 weeks into the season after what looked like a season-ending loss in week 1, which is extremely rare in the NFL, by how things change. And the Cowboys are now 1-1 after they get saved today and take advantage of a struggling Cincinnati team and make enough plays and get enough plays from their key players and win this game 20-17. It is Cowboys Overreact from the Pickleball Giant Studios. I am in the bunker here in Ukraine, trying to keep myself from being bombed by all the shelling going on outside. Back in San Antonio, Texas, is my cohort. The biggest Puma with his favorite barbecue restaurant in town being represented. On the head, you look like a coach. You matched for the first time in the history of our friendship. I'm going to be honest with you. Not to get all weird on you. I guess I am getting weird on you. I'm going to assess your attire here right off the top. You look good, Bubba. I like how you look. Be cool if we could hear you, though. But you look great. I can't hear you, but you look great. How you doing?
No, it's probably better if you don't hear me today. That was quite the roller coaster watching along here at LG's.
It's funny. I hate the Cowboys so much that when Maher trotted onto the field there at the end, I was already chuckling at the prospect of him missing because it would have been so fucking awesome.
Yeah. I mean, what? Okay.
It would have been so great.
They
make me not want to root for him. It sucks.
Start right there. I mean, on a 0 to 100 scale, what was your confidence that kick was going in?
30-70. He's not a terrible kicker.
No, I would say
it's Dallas
40-60 because the one thing Maher actually does well is hit long kicks at an above average rate. Again, it's the 35 to 45 yard kicks that Maher can't connect on. No, that was a season saving victory. That was a game that keeps me engaged for at least another 7 days. I mean, that was That was a game that keeps me for at least one more week making 2 sheets worth of notes instead of just 2 lines of
2
this
sheets
team
today?
sucks.
Good Lord.
Sheet and a half.
Look,
Yeah.
you'll be proud of me. Look, I got
There
a
was
few
a
in.
lot happened.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. When I
had
have almost a page, a lot happened because I don't take notes at all.
Yeah, I mean, we had Romo calling Gene his alternative mother-in-law. I mean, a lot happened.
Still hate Tony Romo. I know a lot of Cowboy fans hate me because I hate him. God, he's awful. I just don't think he's any good. But hey, they pay him $17.5 million a year, so who am I to hate on him? He's a pain in the ass, and now he's got the scruff rolling. Looks awful. Maybe he's just growing his beard out, I guess.
It's
Looks
a process.
awful. Don't love him. But he just content-wise today, I will tell you this, and normally a lot of times he's a bit of an ass whip. He was toned down Tony today in this game. You know why? Because he loves the Cowboys.
Because the Cowboys, yeah, 100%.
He loves the Joneses, and that's why you got that line you mentioned from Gene. She's what he said? She's an extra step. She's an extra mother-in-law to the Romo family.
Mother for the whole Romo family, and of course,
compared it to his mom.
It
Second
was
mom. Good
again.
Lord.
It was during the obligatory reference to the art that,
of course,
I'm at this point convinced that like people like Jim Nantz actually are proud of that art. Like it's not a bit anymore. It's like, oh no, like this is world-class art that you peasants at the football game get to experience. Like it feels.
You mean the out-of-touch multi-millionaire who lives
correct.
At a private resort in Pebble Beach? Yeah.
The guy who has a Pebble Beach par 3 hole recreated in his backyard. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that guy. I'm the guy who literally divorced his first wife because she wouldn't let him hang a painting of himself above their altar. That was quoted in their divorce proceedings. Yeah, I'm beginning to think that guy actually enjoys Gene's art at the stadium.
I'm not surprised that we got a reference to the art for the second time because it's the first time CBS has done a game. Obviously, it's only week 2.
Sure.
And this goes back to last year, and I've noticed this. It's so funny that only on this show do we lead with art talk.
That's correct.
After a big Cowboy victory. We'll get to the other shit in a minute. But last week it was NBC. It was the first time one of the few times they're going to do a Cowboy game all year. So you got to reference the artwork. You got to showcase the stadium because the NFL wants them to.
Al Michaels,
CBS
another guy that likes the art. Al Michaels
loves it. CBS does not always do Cowboy games, and not with Romo. And so of course you got to reference it. But like 3 or 4 games into a Fox, like the 3rd or 4th time we're on Fox, you won't hear shit about that because it's already old news. However, next game, new network, Monday night with Joe and Troy, and it's ESPN, and we're going to see that artwork again. The art's going to be 3-0 next week.
Art reference over under by the end of the first quarter.
Next week?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the over, but just barely. Mid-second quarter.
Okay.
At a timeout.
Yeah, exactly. After the first quarter, but before the end of the first half. There's no
Certainly
question.
Before the half. Absolutely.
Yeah, no
all right,
question.
dude. So you want to talk Cooper Rush and get him out of the way? And I don't want to sit here and I don't want to do sports talk for dummies and entertain the notion that he is anywhere near as good as the guy he replaced today, because that would be sports talk for dummies.
Oh, he was good. He was good on all of the scripted plays that they had lined out. And then he went 7 possessions with absolutely nothing.
Here's where I will do sports talk for dummies, because it's not just rando fans either. I heard fucking people that are on network television shows this week call for them to sign another quarterback. It's insane. You can't go. It does not work in the NFL. You can't go bring a guy. As I said this last week in defense of Dak, it is the hardest position in all of sports to play. I don't know about. I don't know about other sports. I don't know about rogue sports in India, or playing soccer with decapitated heads in Afghanistan. Maybe there's a harder position there. But in the Western Hemisphere, there is no more hard position than quarterback to play. You cannot bring somebody else in. Could you have done better than Cooper Rush? Maybe in the offseason, so the guy could come in here, get ready to play, and learn the system. But this is his, third or fourth year in the system? He knows the system inside and out, and like you said, Puma, he ran the scripted plays to perfection. He wasn't always great, but he did exactly what a backup quarterback who has been in the system and he's probably talking to Dak in between series and shit. He's a true pro. I mean, I have to give him his propers. I mean, he goes on the road into Minnesota last year and makes plays in winning time with the game on the line, and he did so today. He wasn't Roger Staubach in the fourth quarter today, but he was just good enough to make just enough plays after doing jack shit from the 2-minute warning of the first half all the way to that last series. He didn't do shit. But when the game was on the line, he made plays. So I have to give him his props. And at this point, it is what it is, and they're stuck with him. So if Dak gets hurt again at some point this year, they'll have to run old Cooper Rush back out there. I'm sorry. I think your boy Will Greer, the only way he sees the field now is as if Rush gets hurt next week before Dak gets back.
Yeah, and I mean, that's fine. This is the worst thing about winning a game like this, because it in turn justifies the Joneses' decision making in some sense, because they can literally sit here and say, hey, I mean, Cooper Rush is 2-0 as a starter. We had to use him in an emergency last year, and he won a road game in prime time in front of a raucous Minnesota crowd, which he deserves credit for. And now in a 3:30, home block, he wins against the team that represented the AFC in the Super Bowl last year. So, I mean, as we can sit here and celebrate a justifiably season-saving win for the Cowboys, but the other side of that coin is it unfortunately justifies the Jones decision-making in their own eyes, because they can sit here and look and say, hey, look, why do we need to invest more in the backup quarterback job? The guy we've had at a minimum that no one else in the league would ever pick up on waivers. Again, we don't have to worry about sending him to the practice squad because we know we can always re-sign him. He's now 2-0 when we've had to go to him as the starting option in emergency situations. So I mean, that's the worst thing about a win like this today. It does save the season. It does make the rest of everything we're doing here relevant, but it also justifies the Joneses' decision making in an odd, perverted sense.
I'm disappointed that you didn't admonish me for my reference to severed head soccer in Afghanistan. I thought that was fun.
I
was trying to get a rise out of you.
Through. I tried on a game where Cooper Rush just led to a Brett Maher game-winning field. Like give me all the Afghani severed head metaphors you can throw at me, because I'm here for it.
There can't be any other place in all of the NFL where post-game hosts like you and me have, and I can tell you're having an existential crisis within. Rooting for a team, but hating that the owners will get credit for anything that goes positive. It's fucked up. It's dysfunctional.
Yes.
It's dysfunctional what's going on in your heart right now.
It's
not
frustrating.
Right. It's not healthy.
It's frustrating that literally this franchise right now is being saved by the fact that they missed out on the top 2 cornerback prospects in the draft 2 years ago. They missed out on Surtain the second. They missed out on Horn from South Carolina. And Michael Parsons falls into their lap. And what's he done? He's gotten 17 sacks in his first 18 regular season games.
Yeah.
And again, that insane. Credit falls back as justification for the decision making by the front office. And that's the giant takeaway from all of this is, we're celebrating a season-saving win, but we're also celebrating that the guy that the front office has attached their hopes to for his 4th year in the system now, Cooper Rush, and Michael Parsons, a guy that they're taking credit for after missing out on their first 2 targets in the draft. That are historical performances are keeping them in this. I mean, Cooper Rush being 2-0, I feel is safe to say a historical occurrence. And obviously, Micah, like I said, I mean, damn near a sack a game for his first full season in the league. I mean, it's
dysfunctional that you hate that Jerry feels good about himself today, but yet you're a Cowboy fan.
That's how it works.
It's a strange juxtaposition of emotion. All right, it is Cowboys Overreact from the Pickleball Giant Studios, brought to you in part by Pickleball Giant. Look at Puma's sweet ass setup. Only a few more games of me being stuck here in Ukraine. I keep trying to get my lawyer to reach out to President Biden. But I'm not as famous as Brittany Griner, so I'm trying to get out of the prison that I'm currently living in. So hopefully in a few weeks I'll be there with you somewhere in Texas where things make sense. It is Taylor and Puma. We don't take calls on this show, but we certainly invite your participation. You can jump in here. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Mike Taylor Live, by the way, presented by Texas Cheer Liquor, returns Tuesday. LG's back from his porn shoot last week in Florida. And so we'll get back to our normal 3-show schedule. Actually, you know what we could do? We should do some production on the air here. Since the Cowboys play on a Monday night, are we going to do Monday night postgame and Tuesday and Thursday next week? I guess we should. Yeah, I
mean,
we should.
Contractual obligations
we have
would
to,
suggest
right.
that we should.
You can't combine shows. That's fine. That's okay. So anyway, like I was saying.
I mean, we just took a full week off.
I know.
The least we can do is get back to regularly scheduled
it
programming.
Does help. It helps kill the time here while I'm stuck in the hellscape for another month.
Oh, speaking of hellscape, I hear the meat wagon in the background.
Are you serious? Can you hear?
Did you hear an ambulance? Something. Hell, maybe that's our own hellscape.
I think it's your place, dude. I don't think that's out here, which is rare. So jump in here with a chat, with a comment on our chats. You can participate in our super chat too. Keep this show afloat. If we don't get any more help by about 2 months from now, we're going to be doing this for free. So if you want to help us out with a $3 tip or a $3 million tip or a $1 tip, we'll take your tip. However long your tip is. We want it. We want it. So bring it in here in the form of some money on the super chat, or you can subscribe to this thing, or you can also help this show out, this fledgling little YouTube extravaganza, by going on and helping us out on buymeacoffee.com. It's buymeacoffee.com/Mike Taylor Live. All right. There, I got all that housekeeping out of the way. So let's do offensive line talk here and get that out of the way, too, because it's not that sexy, but it was very important today. So after last week's worst game of his career, Cibolo's own, Terrence Steele, I think I may have heard 2 references to him today, and one of them was in the first quarter when Romo mentioned how terrible he was last week. We did not hear much from Terrence Steele today, and that's a good thing. That means he was doing his effing job. So he was clearly way better, which pisses me off even more about last week because he's a capable guy. Once again, not that I like giving the Joneses credit, but the decision to let La'el Collins go and go ahead and give it a go with Terrence Steele, I had no problem with it at the time. I was worried about it backfiring because La'el Collins has got talent. By the way, La'el Collins sucks ass. He was horrible today, and he got his ass whipped all day long. Terrence Steele had a good job for the Cowboys at right tackle. And my man, Crowley's own, Tarrant County's own, Tyler Smith, a controversial first-round pick, was okay last week. He wasn't horrible, especially when you consider that he wasn't even supposed to be playing left tackle this season. He's forced to go out there because Tyron Smith can't stay healthy. Tyler Smith was great today, just great. That's 2 games into your career. I mean, I'm already ready to say just keep his ass at left tackle. But I would, let's say he's only going to get better provided he stays healthy. He's going to continue to learn the league. He's clearly studying. He's clearly practicing. He's clearly got a head above his neck. that guy's good. He had a damn good game today. Okay. He wasn't going against a top 5 defensive rush, but the Bengals have a pretty damn good defense. That Hendrickson's a badass. And Tyler Smith today was terrific based on all expectations. He was great. So thumbs up to Tyler Smith, who got the job done. And they did just enough to keep the immobile Cooper Rush upright and give him enough time to put this thing and give it a chance to win. The Cowboys, they won the first quarter and they won the fourth. And in most football games, that's what wins games. How you come out ready to play, how you've been coached and game planned during the week. Clearly, the Dan Quinn game plan was terrific. They dominated Cincinnati defensively until the very end. And still, but with the game on the line, when Cincinnati was trying to rally with one of my favorite players in all of pro sports, Joe Burrow, what happens? Defense steps up. So the Cowboys on both sides of the ball win the first quarter and they win the fourth, and that's how you normally win games in the NFL, how you start and how you finish. And I know you don't like, and I'm not giving Jerry any credit. F that old man. Everything that they do positive is in spite of him. For everything that goes right, and I know this. I guess this has become the topic of this show. Rooting for the Cowboys while not wanting Jerry to feel good about it. Everything that goes right for Jerry, for every one thing that goes right, 5 go wrong. So keep that in your mind
sure.
as you try to get sleep tonight. He's still a shit bag and a clown, and doesn't deserve to feel good. But F it, I'm a fan of his team. I love Micah Parsons. I love Trayvon Diggs. Love Dak Prescott, and 3 or 4 other guys on that team. If Tyler Smith keeps playing ball, he's a kid from my hometown. I'm going to fall in love with him quick too. So to hell with the Joneses. I root for those players out there, and they kicked ass today, and they busted their ass, and they won that game. That's a hard-fought win. They deserve they deserve a shot and a drink today.
Going back to the offensive line, I mean, Terrence Steele looked like an absolutely different player than week 1. I mean, he looked more.
Show last week was bullshit.
Yeah, but it
better
also
than that.
It also goes to show that Terrence Steele is going to be an inconsistent presence on that starting line. But when he's on, he's more than serviceable, as he was today. I mean, he was playing with more of that confidence that you saw last season that led you to think he could assume this starting right tackle role and ironically replace a guy like La'el Collins, who Micah Parsons absolutely dominated today. And I didn't realize maybe it was not news to you, but I had no idea. Apparently, Micah and La'el's relationship was what it was, because Romo kept referencing, La'el was telling Micah, what did he say? You need to watch a bunch of Von Miller tape. That's who I see, your prototype being. I had no idea. But then again, if you're going to tell me, let's give Jerry some credit for getting a present away from Micah, from a guy that will try to bribe a, piss test taker from the league. But no, it's looking at the line. The bigger question, talking about Tyler Smith, is this. Looking at the Jason Peters signing, and looking at what, the Cowboys get the win today, save the season. We all know the stats of 0-2 teams and how unlikely it is that they make the playoffs. I mean, 1-1 versus 0-2 is, like it or not, a historically different foxhole to be in, and the Cowboys now find themselves in a much more manageable 1-1 with Michael Gallup coming back, with apparently an absolutely waste of a 3rd-round pick, Jalen Tolbert, who can't be active in the first 2 weeks. It does make me wonder. I had a note, from pregame. It makes me wonder if that hamstring injury that he did suffer during camp is not more of a hindrance than maybe they let on, or if he's just an absolutely that much of a bust. But thinking back to Jason Peters, Tyler Smith's performance today tells me either Jason Peters is cracking this lineup as a starter, replacing Farniok, who had a decent game today, but is a 7th-round draft pick from last year that if you can replace, because that's where we're at. We've got Cooper Rush starting at quarterback, Farniok, a 7th-round pick, or Jason Peters, a 40-year-old, could be the eventual replacement. But I think at this point you're only seeing Tyler Smith, as you said. Is he going to stay at that left tackle position? I think the only way you're seeing him move is a early return from Tyron Smith, because I think this pretty much says Peters. If he's cracking the starting lineup, he's replacing Farniok at left guard, Tyler Smith staying left tackle till Tyron's back, if Tyron comes back. But I do much more of a confidence building performance versus last week for the young kid. I mean, think about just the sheer amount of penalties, the amount of times you heard offensive lineman's name mentioned by the referee. That's a big difference in winning. The defense still only gives up 17 points and 19 points last week. They can win with this formula, especially if the offensive line can keep their names out of the mouths of the linesmen.
James says Collins taught Parsons how to get to the quarterback quicker when he was in Dallas. Today, Parsons proved that he listened to Collins' every word by making Collins his bitch. I like it. Backfired on him. I like that a lot. Very good. That's a lot of positive. Can we skew negative here a little bit?
Oh, there's still plenty of that. Yes,
all right,
absolutely.
Good. All right, good. Zeke Elliott sucks.
No explosion.
He's done.
It's like after the game last week, it looked like there was still some explosive threat left, maybe for half a season, but
they literally split series today. But of course, they don't want to hurt his fucking feelings, and so he's out there on the last drive as the starting tailback, and I can only surmise that it's because they don't want to hurt his feelings. Look, is it possible that you could overplay Pollard and maybe expose him some? I guess so, sure. But there's no reason why Tony Pollard shouldn't be starting unless you're just worried about the mental functioning of the team and the guys want Zeke to start. Zeke normally has a good first month and then tails off because he's fat and out of shape and not as good. Last year, of course, he got hurt. Man, it's early. He's not hurt at all that we've been told. He didn't have anything today. He was just another dude out there. He looked like Tony Pollard's backup. There are lots of backups around the NFL today that played games that are still better than Zeke. Zeke's not even top 50, I don't think, at this point. He's just almost done. This will be his last season. They've got to find a way to release him next year. But I don't want to overplay Pollard, but I damn sure don't want to overplay Zeke either because he doesn't have anything. So what he's got left in the tank, you need to preserve because you got 15 more of these things. This is going to be a problem going forth if this is what he's going to be doing. You talk about inconsistency with Terrence Steele. Zeke one week looks 28, the next week, like today, he looks 58. He just didn't have anything.
Yeah, and I mean that's always going to be the frustrating part of Zeke is that instead of trying to plan their exit to get out from underneath that contract, they've only kicked the can further down the line and have committed, more and more years to him before they can get out from underneath that dead money. At the same time, where again, they make unnecessary moves to get rid of a guy like Amari Cooper, even though they have even though they have no financial crunch that requires that type of move. I mean, I had a note from earlier in that first half. I'm not so sure if Pollard isn't the player that defensive coordinators are game planning for the most, because it's either Pollard or CD.
Who was better today? CD Lamb was.
He was.
They made a concerted effort to get him the ball. You know what pisses me off? It's like I don't like – you almost give – I hate when teams just know what you've got to do. Cincinnati knew going into this game, CD's pressing. The Cowboys have already said, we got to get him the ball. The fucking owner calls him out this week. CD's just got to come up with a way to catch passes even though he's doubled. You tell your opposition that you're desperate to get the guy the ball. And he was better today, but, I mean, he can only be as good as his quarterback and the system and all that kind of thing and his route running and stuff. He was fine. He's fine. He's not Jamar Chase. He's fine. He's a very good wide receiver. I thought they were unfair to him during the week.
Yeah.
This is about thank you. This is about the defense just holding this thing together.
Oh, no question. No question. And that's
because, see, we're going to get rushed 2 weeks in a row now. We've never seen that before, so it could be a disaster next week.
But if the thing about the defense is, I mean, obviously holding opponents under 20 points a game, you would like to think you're going to continue to give yourself a chance to win those matchups. But the amount of drive killing plays, whether they be sacks, pressures, because obviously we talked about it extensively. The turnover numbers from last year are not sustainable. I mean that is not a number of Trayvon's not going to have as many interceptions. The Cowboys are not going to force as many turnovers. But what they can do, and what we analytically know forces teams to end drives, is not necessarily sacks, but continued pressure. And that's the one thing, I mean, throughout this whole game, even when they didn't get to Burrow, there was continued pressure that was forcing throws early, forcing overthrows, forcing misreads, forcing wide receivers not to break out of routes, and in turn, forcing field goal attempts. And that's where, this defense can, as we have talked throughout the lead up to this year, obviously I agree with you. I don't think we're going to see this a similar amount of turnovers this season, but if they can create a similar amount of pressure, whether that amounts to turnovers or not, it's still going to amount to field goal attempts on fourth down from the 25-yard line, which we've seen emerge as a trend so far for this Cowboys defense, of being able to come up with that big play and kill a drive and force a field goal attempt on third down late, deep in their own territory. And that's a winning formula where you might not still be getting the turnover numbers. Trayvon Diggs might not be looking as sexy in, double-digit interceptions, but if you're forcing pressure and getting that tackle like he got on, man-to-man coverage, granted, obviously that was deep in Bengals' own territory, but yeah, I just think the defense, it felt like a bit of a coming out. I mean, I heard Anthony Barr's name exponentially more than I did last week. Heard Dante Fowler's name exponentially more than we did last week. I mean, I think because here's, we were giving the Cowboys credit. I believe we were giving them credit for having 20 of their last draft picks on the roster week one. And I mean, that's a good thing if those guys are good, but if you're retaining mediocre talent from your draft picks, that doesn't get you anywhere. And I believe they released John Ridgway, the 5th round pick, to get their roster numbers right for the game today. So, I mean, even as we sit here and talk about the performances of a former 5th round pick, of finally hearing his name, finally seeing him, knock a pass down like Fowler did today. I mean, this thing is still hanging on by a thread because they're relying on those, give up yards between the 20s and then come up with one stop to kill a drive. And that's the only way Cooper Rush can win games. You're not going to win a shootout with Cooper Rush leading the offense. If Cooper Rush can score 20 points every game he starts, that's the only, you're not going to see him score 35 and outscore a team in the fourth quarter, in the second half. I mean, I think this is the formula that's going to carry them until Dak's back, which actually, I had wrote in the second half when you mentioned when we got the shot of Micah looking kind of gimpy, looking a little, coming up a little lame, kind of hobbled. And that led me, we're seeing what Cooper Rush did today. Is Micah Parsons not? That is a hell of a drop from LG. Correct. Yeah. Is Micah not equally as important as Dak? Because I think right now you're seeing Micah Parsons gave them a chance to win week 1 with his sacks, ending drives and forcing field goals. And he just did the same right here. Not even the sacks he had, but just the pressures that led to the, LVE sack the one time, or the Dorrance Armstrong sack that ended the drive there in the third quarter as well. I just think because that's all that's holding this thing together.
It's time to read a spot.
Oh, you should tell me that before the show starts, and I'll know to do it.
I told you that at the end of the last show, but it's all good.
Oh, the bell? Oh, okay. I'll make myself a note. Well, and I will do that. This show is called Overreact, live from the Pickleball Studios. Pickleball Giant is the only all-exclusive pickleball gear store in all of San Antonio. At 1604 and Rogers Ranch is the major exit there, where Bitters turns into Rogers Ranch at 1604. They're tucked right there to the left in that little corner on the right-hand side. It is Pickleball Giant. The name says it all. They do pickleball. I was out for a little morning stroll today. Went to the beach here in the Hellscape this morning and walked past folks playing pickleball, and they were not old people. They were young people having a badass time in bathing suits and such, and it's one of the rising sports. It's the rising sport among Americans we have right now. That's true. And the only exclusive all pickleball gear store in town is Pickleball Giant at 1604 and Rogers Ranch. All right? All right. Then you rang that bell about 10 minutes ago too, didn't you? My bad. It's quite the scene in the Cowboys locker room. I'm watching video on their website. And, of course, who's in the middle of it, Puma? Take one guess who's right there in the middle of all of it, high-fiving everybody.
Bones Fossil.
Jerry fucking Jones.
Oh, okay.
Soaking it all in. They're all just patting him on the shoulder and having a good time. Brett Maher wound up getting the game ball for the game-winning field goal as Maher nails a 50-yard field goal to win this game. They also gave game balls to some of the guys on the offensive line. And quite a bit different the mood today. A Mike McCarthy-led team in which McCarthy throws Kellen Moore under the bus today. And granted, we didn't have Dak out there, but we got a much more conservative day from Kellen Moore. But when he did decide to open it up some, he picked the right times to do it. He managed the game the way he needs to be managing it. Romo mentioned how conservative they were in the middle quarters. But, I mean, maybe it's true they got a bit more conservative, too much so in the third quarter. But, again, it's Cooper Rush, man. You don't have a QB1 out there. You got a QB2. So I thought Moore did a good job. A week in which the owner calls out CeeDee Lamb for stepping up. And we all know who's in trouble here. McCarthy. There's been talk this week that McCarthy needs to take over play calling. McCarthy threw Kellen Moore under the bus, which we all interpreted as he's setting up this thing to maybe take over for play calling at some point, because McCarthy's job's on the line here. Just is. And it's funny what 3.5 hours of hang-on football can do. It's funny you mentioned they're hanging on by a thread. And you know what? You're right about that for a whole bunch of reasons that make us nuts. But you know what's crazy? It's the NFL. 4/5 of the teams in this league are hanging on by a thread.
Oh,
way
sure.
It goes. You see how the Raiders game just ended? You
Yeah.
see what the Ravens did today? Fucked up a 35-14 lead in the fourth quarter. Lost to my Dolphins.
That's correct.
6 big touchdowns from Tua.
How
No car
about
fires in the
the
parking lot today because it was in Baltimore, I suspect.
yeah, the cold weather hindered
It's
that.
the
How
league,
about
man.
the
This league sucks.
Jets scoring 2 touchdowns in the last 88 seconds to beat the
Yeah,
Browns?
it's insane. The NFL sucks, and that's the other thing that keeps the Cowboys afloat, that the league's hard. I mean, look, I thought Denver was going to be much improved with Russell Wilson. They lose to a Seahawks team that's dog shit. That being said, Tariq Woolen, the official Fort Worth-born cornerback,
Yeah, with the
the
block.
official former UTSA Roadrunner of the show, with a block punt today that sets up their only touchdown. Seattle's not any good. Denver struggles at home today. They beat the Texans 16-9. You look around the league, the 49ers lose Trey Lance, forced to go to Jimmy Garoppolo, who they don't even want on the damn team, but because they got balls in San Francisco, could not find the right trade for him. You know what they tell Jimmy G? Fucking suck it up. Couldn't trade you. Don't want you to start, but you're going to be the backup, and you're going to
we'll
get paid, and we
restructure.
expect your ass to play if the kid gets hurt. And what happened today? Jimmy G went out there and kicked Seattle's ass 27-7. Look at the Indianapolis Colts. They're 0, but they get shut out today by Jacksonville.
That's correct.
That's a football team with playoff level talent across the board and good coaching. Good coaching. You know, the Patriots, a week after getting their ass kicked in Miami, everyone's making fun of Belichick. What does he do? He goes on the road and wins in Pittsburgh. Who in Pittsburgh's pretty solid. The New York Football Giants, who will come to Jerry World a week from tomorrow night, are now 2-0 after holding off the Panthers 16-19. What else did we see? Look how shitty the Packers were last week. The Packers better get their ass in gear tonight against Chicago. They play the Bears here in a little bit. How about your Glen Rose Lions? They bit some kneecaps today.
They sure did. Took down your Commanders.
They sure did. They did beat my Commanders. You see the big fight today between Galveston Zone, the former Aggies great Mike Evans? That was badass.
Evans and Lattimore. Yeah.
Yeah, those Lattimores are all a bunch of shit bags. All those Lattimore brothers have always been like hot-headed dudes, always ready to rumble. Mike Evans will put up with that shit.
It's such a cheap out, though, just to say, all right, both of you are out of here. I mean, it's like the double foul in basketball. Yeah.
Shit. But speaking of referees, how are we missing the ball clearly doinking the scoreboard again today?
Okay. Yeah.
Good Lord. That could have had an impact on the outcome of the game.
Yeah, that was that
clearly hit the thing.
Okay, well, that leads me into some of my observations about this that didn't necessarily affect the outcome of the game, but just things that immediately made me stop down and reach for something to make a note.
All those notes you take, I want to let you get some in.
That's 3 straight games now where a punter has hit the scoreboard. It had never happened in a regular season game since the stadium opened in 2009. And now we have it happening in the playoff game. We have it happening with the guy, the Bucks punter last week, his first career punt ever. And now, as you say, they somehow miss the fact that it hit the scoreboard again for the 3rd time. That just goes into the overarching. That whole stadium is an ass whip. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a play in the where was it? In the 3rd quarter where CeeDee Lamb was the intended target and he caught it. But when they showed the replay, there was no way Dalton Schultz would have ever seen a pass coming to him. He's just standing right in the direct sunlight with it beaming through the windows at the far end. If Cooper had decided to check down and try to hit Schultz, it was going to literally just smash his face mask. He would have never seen it coming. And it, of course, reminded me of the Ced Wilson play last year during the playoff game against the 49ers, where literally the same thing, you know, instead of Instead of using curtains to close that window and close the glare, Jerry's more concerned with the TV product than actual detrimental performance on the field. But yeah, no, that for whatever reason, it seems like the scoreboard is becoming way more like our punters. Do you think it's intentional? Do you think punters are just
Better.
evolving that much? Yeah.
Yes. No, it wasn't intentional. They showed a close up of Anger, the Cowboys' best overall football player besides Zach Martin, statistically speaking.
Sure.
And Anger clearly dropped an F-bomb when he's like, "Fuck." It was absolutely unintentional, but he's really good. And it's stupid. You almost have to avoid hitting it because if you knock the shit out of it, you're going to hit it. If you're that, because these are pro level punters. You have to like alter your whole fucking approach.
You saw Anger do that in the fourth quarter. One of his punts intentionally, they were on the far left hash.
That's one of the plays of the game.
Went
by the
to
way.
the far right, and he fair catch at the 8-yard line. Exactly,
pinning the Bengals back down on the left side of the hash mark, deep in their own zone. That I'm glad you mentioned that because of that was a badass punt. That's one of the special teams today did well. My boy Cavante Turpin got a couple of chances to show out. He did a good job.
Yeah,
we got the game-winning field goal from Maher for 50 and got one of the top 4 or 5 punters in the league. We got special teams, bitches, and they covered well.
Turpin had that like 15, 18-yard return there at the end of the second quarter that allowed them to get into field goal range for Maher that ended up being short field and get some more numbers. No, a couple more observations. Did you see the guy that holds the like bubble boom mic get absolutely rocked in the first quarter?
He is not a young man. I hope he's okay.
Not at all. And it makes me wonder.
Blasted.
It makes me not wonder, but it just raises recognition of, I'm surprised that doesn't happen more often, because why are we picking guys that are like 60 years plus to be doing those jobs? It feels like that's a young man's game to try to be light on your feet and get out of the way. Not to victim blame for the poor old man.
That's not on him. He shouldn't have the job. I'm with you. I'm with you. You know what? It's funny. You know what has gotten younger? The refereeing in this league.
Exactly. Yeah,
way
another
younger.
trend.
Because there for a while, how many times did we come on here, or how many times did I come on over the years and go, Jesus, these old fuckers can't even keep up with these kids anymore. These kids are too explosive, too athletic. You know, the 4th and 5th wide receiver now on these teams are more athletic than the top wide receivers of the 80s and 90s. You got to have some healthy, athletic referees out there, and they have gotten younger, but the old man on the side today with the mic, not so much.
Granted, let's be honest, what's a 45-year-old female ref is pretty equal to a 65-year-old male ref, right? Like, okay. I mean, if we're being honest, like,
wow.
I mean, there's still.
How old is she? 45?
I don't know, but that was another thing.
Are you referring to the female ref we had today?
That's correct.
With
I was referring to another note I had.
I'll let you have that.
I'm still getting used to seeing.
I'm going to kick back and let you say that. Go ahead.
Distance from that. I'm still getting used to seeing the ponytail
Here's
run
the misogyny report.
No, it's not a misogyny report. It's just more of a things I'm still getting used to.
Just because you notice her does not mean she sucks and can't keep up.
No. And again, I mean, it's
a big day for chicks. Becky Hammond just won a title.
That's correct.
Lay off women. Yeah. We want you to check yourself.
Aces up. No, I'm just saying it's a good thing I'm not sitting here telling you her exact name and professional career route, because she did a fine job of not drawing my attention outside of forgot we have a female ref today.
Give me a couple more. We'll roll through some of these messages, these chats. We'll get out of here.
The show Fire Country, generic that's a give up title. Fire Country. Hey, what are we? Did you miss that promo?
I must have been getting more Heineken Light or taking a dump. I missed
Yeah,
that. Is that an upcoming series?
That's another one of your upcoming CBS drama series that you can expect.
I did notice. I'm sorry. I did notice that the latest edition of CIS Hawaii is so in the tank, and they've spent so much money on it out here. CBS has that they're desperate because no one watches it, and so they're going to combine it. They're going to combine cast next week. CSI LA is joined by the cast of CSI Hawaii. Translation: we are desperate to get other people to notice that there's a CIS Hawaii it's not doing well. I did notice that. All those network shows on CBS are also cheese bag.
Well,
you watch any of them?
No, God no. But that's the great thing about football season is you get to see. You remember last year it was Fox was doing the Lone Star 911 Lone Star that had the whole season.
That's an Austin show.
Well,
be bagging on that. That's a kick-ass show.
I will openly bag on it because they were doing a full season arc about the Snowmageddon. They were literally their whole season was about our 1 week of being snowed in. So yeah, I mean a bunch of Hollywood woke elites cashing in on the plight of everyday Texans trying to survive a snow apocalypse. Yeah, no, I was out on that last year, and I don't think I'll be watching Fire Country. And then lastly, something you mentioned on the radio show last week.
Yeah.
You made sure that I was aware that the Bengals could potentially be in some trouble because their longtime long snapper was going to miss the game today. And it's
we cover it all on Mike Taylor Radio.
You bet your ass. And it's also Jim Nantz covers it all because in the middle of the fourth quarter, as I have noted here, at the 3:45 minute mark, Cooper Rush got the ball. And I have Cooper Rush has 3:45 to save a season. Then I have immediately after that, Burrow has 2:13 to save a season. And then immediately after that, I have the Bengals' new long snapper is an absolute non-factor, despite Jim Nantz and Mike Taylor's insistence on making me aware of it. So
I didn't insist on it. That was a key talking point. They lost their guy for the year.
Well,
I mentioned it.
You and Nancy had the same talking points as he dropped that on us after that punt right there at the 1 minute mark in the fourth quarter.
15 hours, buddy. That's how many hours I got to kill every week on that radio show. 15. So that's all I can tell you.
Adds up slowly.
And say this about these Bengals, my man. They're going to cost that kid 2 years on the back end of his fucking career if they don't get their offensive line taken care of. Maybe next year they address the offensive line in Cincinnati, and the year after that too, because you just can't overhaul an offensive line in 1 year. That kid is so good, so clutch, so Montana-like with his talent, so badass, confident, swagger. Wish he were a Miami Dolphin, damn it. They're going to cost him. They're going to shorten his career up there because that kid is pressured or hurried or sacked every fucking time he drops back. Every time. If he's not sacked, he's under duress in some form or fashion. It's awful. They're 0-2. They're the first. You want some more football? You want some more?
Wow.
You want some more Cincinnati stuff? They were a 7-point favorite today. Yep. When is the last time a team that went to a Super Bowl started off the next season 0-2, losing back-to-back weeks in which it was a 7-point underdog? That can't be. That's got to be unprecedented.
Yeah,
they're not very good.
Yeah,
but I think they'll get it a little bit better. Their division's not great, so they'll be in the division to the end of the season. But unless Burrow gets hurt, which seems imminent, as shitty as their offensive line is, I feel bad for Zach Taylor.
Even if Burrow doesn't get hurt, I mean, that Bengals defense last year was, arguably similar to the Cow. I mean, they were feast or famine. I mean, it was a lot of
everything went their way last year.
Exactly.
The Chiefs should have kicked their ass in the playoffs. The Chiefs screwed that up.
Yeah, this has every sign of your stereotypical, fall back to earth and
Yeah. 8 and 9,
underachieve.
9 and
Yeah.
8. Yeah. I do like their coach, Zach Taylor, not because his last name is Taylor. I do love Joe Burrow. They've got great skilled players. I don't want to write them off, but yeah, they're not going to be as good as they were last year. So tell me again the name of the coach in Miami. Daniel something.
McDaniel. Yeah, Mike
McDaniel.
McDaniel. Mhm.
And I made fun of him because he said he was a black dude.
Well, his
He's
dad
about as
was black.
okay. I think I might be more Mexican than he is black.
Okay, but again,
He does not look.
You don't
Mama,
really.
all the traits must be. We had a DNA test. That somebody needs to go on Jerry Springer.
I mean, you don't really control
Maury
what
Povich.
genes of yours are
Maury.
dominant or not.
Let
I
me
mean,
say
it's
this.
just more
However,
of how you pop out.
However, that guy has now kicked Bill Belichick's ass, followed it up by going into Baltimore and kicking John Harbaugh's ass, looking like he's about 25, real short down there. And he looks, I watched it. We get all the Miami games here in the Hellscape because of Tua.
Tua,
And
yeah.
I got a big, healthy dose of Dolphins today because that was the game that was on before the Cowboy game on CBS here. That is a coached up team. That is a team that's flying around, playing good ball. He's getting all the blood out of Tua's rock. Tua's not elite, but damn sure look good today.
What did
It's a well coached team, man. That's why I need to apologize to that kid for making fun of him. Call him a kid. Was he 35, 34? Was he 31?
the head
he's
coach?
young.
Yeah,
31.
he's
He's
young,
younger
yeah.
than you.
Well, and that's what
He's got that shit quarterback. He's got that shit locked down.
Tyreek Hill's quote after week 1 was, the coach is going to have to get a wheelbarrow for his set of great big old balls for going for it on 4th and 7. Yeah.
He's got that team, man. It's funny because everybody just knew that who was the guy that was there last year that filed the lawsuit and claimed all this racism and everything?
Brian Flores.
Yeah, Flores. He may have been the victim of some stuff, but they have a better football coach in Miami this year than last year. That can't be debated. That team's got its shit together.
Let's see what happens. I mean, Brian Flores won 10 games with the Dolphins.
I don't mean he wasn't done dirty, but they upgraded. They did him dirty and upgraded.
Again, let's see what happens. I mean,
okay.
Drew Lock was 4-1 last year to start the season with the Broncos.
Sure, absolutely. Long year. Long year.
Panthers
Mark Torres
were 3-0
Vargas
last year.
B&B smoke on Pleasanton Roadhouse is better. Okay, we're gonna get into barbecue debates. I shouldn't even have drawn attention to your hat.
Oh hell, who cares? Throw more at me. More barbecue, the better.
Jerry has commented tonight, which but I mean, obviously he's got power. He's the boss, and so Jerry was saying just a minute ago, apparently that as well as Cooper Rush played today, that does not change Dak's timeline. I think the question was asked, if Cooper keeps playing well, do you get conservative? Not that he's going to replace Dak. Are you more conservative in your approach to when you bring Dak back? Maybe that buys you some more time to get him all the way healthy. And Jerry said, no, absolutely not. Does not change anything with Dak. As soon as he can grip the ball, that's all. He feels fine. The hand's fine. Like you and me, Dak cannot have any problems day to day. He can wipe his butt. He can probably handle up on his, he can do what he's got to do.
Okay.
He can function. He can drive. It's squeezing the ball hard enough. That's all he's got to do left, and he'll be fine. And as soon as he can grip the football as well as he needs to, he'll be back. Even if that means he's back for the Giants game next week. I'll tell you this. If he does not play next week, he's damn sure playing the following week. I think they play my Commanders.
Feels like it.
But I mean, I could see a scenario. Had the Cowboys lost today and Rush was terrible, maybe they're tempted to rush Dak next week. But I think what today did was it did buy you the guarantee, no, Dak, hide your helmet. You're not playing. We'd rather be 1-2 and have a healthy you going forth and rush you out there and you deal with some shit all year. So good decision, but I bet he's back for week 4. And so it'll be Cooper Rush again next week against the undefeated, high-flying New York Giants.
That's insane.
NFL,
on Monday
man.
night.
NFL. NFL. All right, so that's, I guess, so here's the plan for the week. We're back doing Mike Taylor lives. So come up with some content for Tuesday. We'll have Mike Taylor live Tuesday, Mike Taylor live on Thursday, and then we'll have, and then the following week we'll have 3 shows because we'll have the Monday Night Cowboys Overreact. We will have Mike Taylor live presented by Texas Cheer Liquor Tuesday, Thursday. So we'll have a long week. All right, there's a guy called Eric that just donated $49.99.
Holy hell.
Because I have an amazing wife sitting here watching this craziness with me. An amazing elementary school principal would be grateful for a shout out to my beautiful and amazing Pammy. So shout out to Pammy, the wife of Eric Kirchen. They must be drunk. They donated $49.99. Yes, sir. Keep it coming.
They're Commanders fan, or at least I know he is a Commanders fan.
That's 25% of Puma's bi-weekly salary on this
show.
You
don't even realize, Eric.
Hey, LG,
and Pammy,
Pammy,
keep doing God's work with those elementary
Thank you, dear.
school kids.
Yeah, she's a principal. Hey, LG, how you hold? Let me see, LG. I haven't seen him since he's gotten back. How you looking? Can I split screen to LG or no? Is that possible? Hey, dude, how you doing?
Yo.
I've talked to you a little bit, but we haven't seen each other. How was Orlando?
Yeah, it was raining the whole time. So
okay, you don't have an STD or nothing, do you?
Nah.
Okay,
Nah.
Okay, good. You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, outstanding. So let me ask you this. Explain to me why Eric's donation, which I'm so grateful for. Thank you, dude. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
How come we can't give an even 50? Is that the system, or he's just being weird and wanted 3 9s in his donation?
I have no idea.
Okay. So $49.99 from Eric. Okay, that's fine.
Sure, why not?
Just wondering why it's an oddball
That's
number.
The part
like
that stops you down is the
cheap ass. You couldn't go 1 more cent, make it
the
even 50.
infomercial of the infomercial price of $49.99.
Yeah, you can type in whatever you want. So he deliberately typed in 49.
That's hilarious.
I like it.
You know, here's what I want to see from Thunderdome. Y'all start like donating like fucked up numbers. Yeah, somebody donate like 2213. I want to see. I want to see wacky.
Okay.
I want to see wacky donations.
Yeah, somebody donate 999,000.
Or that.
All right. Or that. Yeah.
Once and for all, and be done with it, and concentrate on us. All right, boys, we're over an hour already. It goes fast, you know.
Damn.
So, no, I got stuff to do. Like, not worry about the Cowboys. I'm gonna go. I got no kids tonight, so I'm gonna just hang out and talk to my girlfriend, get me a cheap dinner, and watch the Packers and Bears.
I was about to say, what, 2:30 in the afternoon?
2:38 in the afternoon here. It's
for
insane.
Sunday night football.
Yeah, I can peel back the curtain here and tell those that are currently viewing. I'm not even told Puma this or LG. Maybe LG. I will be home October the 8th.
Oh, you bought the tickets.
I did. A one-way trip. I plan to come back to Hawaii at some point, but it won't be prior to November the 1st. So I'll be home at least all of October, and we'll see how things go in November. I booked a flight yesterday, a straight flight. Hawaiian Airlines goes straight nonstop to Austin. So I fly in on Saturday, October the 8th. I arrive in Austin Bergstrom. Hopefully that airport's not on fire or been taken over by the Sandinistas or something, because that airport's a fucking dumpster fire lately, but that's where I'm flying into.
Had some issues lately.
All right, you boys. I love y'all hard, man. Thank Eric. You're a stud, dude.
Good dude.
If you're married to a principal, at least I know she's smart. Got time for a couple more before we cruise out of here. Robert, 10th Avenue freeze out. What the Giants are going to get by the Cowboys. Screw the Giants. That's a Springsteen reference. Okay. 10th Avenue freeze out. Okay, cool. I mean, who knows? Maybe they do kick the Giants' ass. The Giants' offense is not awesome. Dallas is certainly capable of beating them for sure, of course.
There's a better chance right now, though, that the Giants are sitting at 3-0 than the Cowboys winning next Monday night. I mean, I'm just thinking ahead.
What's the line on that?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, just thinking ahead.
I'm going to go Dallas favored by like 3.5. It's going to be that's even
Man, Cooper Rush favored by more than a field goal.
because he's at home. Well, 3.5.
Yeah, I bet it opens Dallas 2.5.
Jason, only Jerry could build a stadium that makes its home field a disadvantage. Football stadiums are built north and south, so the damn sun's not in your eyes. Jerry was told that when
Heard
they built
that.
the stadium, and he
Yeah.
said, I don't give a fuck.
But
I
it
want that
looks
son of a bitch to
great.
shine on television.
It looks great on television, and all of the concerts look awesome there. And the
That's
World
right.
Championship boxing and
The architects told him the sun will glare through the thing in the afternoon, and Jerry said, I don't give a shit. I want it to, it's going to look cool on TV. That's a fact. We're not bullshitting you. Jason Elizondo. So, Puma, did you see the plume of smoke rolling out of the Alamo Dome after the Rammstein show last night? It looked like somebody
Man.
hotboxed the place. I heard they almost started a
Okay.
fire.
yeah,
Did you hear about that? Did you see it?
Some of the videos so first of all,
Not safe, man.
that was one of the louder concerts I could hear from being a block and a half away. You know,
Yeah.
like that was much louder than the Bad Bunny concert last week. I mean and then seeing all of the bunch of the videos that hit online. I mean, it looked like there was excessive use of fire in that thing. But made some good parking money.
Well, DJ, what's with the Cowboys and ginger quarterback backups winning games? They've got a history of it. Did Craig Morton have red hair? Wouldn't shock me if he did.
Let's go with yes.
They've got a history of ginger quarterbacks coming off the bench and winning games. What else? Her name's Cindy, apparently, the referee you're bashing and saying
I'm
has
not-
no business
okay.
being on a man's football
That
field.
is not none of that is.
That's how I
none
took
of-
it. That's
Well,
how
that's-
that's how it's perceived. That's how
you
opinions
took
came
it
off.
because you're a typical snowflake that's just constantly looking for something to be offended by.
I got triggered. Yeah, got triggered. That fucking Kyler Murray. Do you see the finish of the Cardinals?
It was insane.
Little shithead. Spends 3.5 quarters with people just annihilate because he's playing like dog shit. Clearly didn't look at the playbook, but then throw the playbook out with the game on the line. That ungodly ability he's got. Man, I'll just win the game anyway, bro. I don't playbook schmaybook. Oh,
Must be
God.
nice.
Gilbert Taylor, the Tex Maniacs are playing at our church bazaar the night of October the 8th. Would love for you and La Nina to go. Okay. Here's the problem. I fly into Austin and my flight doesn't arrive till 9:30 p.m.
Minor
Not
detail.
that I like sharing all my personal business. Now, that was the best flight I could do. The earliest flight for the price. I had a credit too, and the reason I chose Hawaiian Airlines is because I had a $260 credit, and they only fly to Bergstrom, and it would have costed a shit ton to connect. Like Hawaiian just doesn't go to San Antonio, obviously, but they go direct to Bergstrom. So I had to book that, and I landed at 9:30 on October the 8th, which is a Saturday. So La Nina will pick me up, and if I'm not too tired, we'll drive back to San Antonio or grab a hotel room and make up for lost time. Need to get home. Miss you, boys. It's been tough being home that long. Now being back here, it's been 2 weeks and it feels like 6. It's not good, bud. Not good for the psyche. To be honest.
Yeah, we had settled into a pretty nice routine of
Puma was butthurt
operation.
too back home. I could tell. Our chemistry suffered week 1.
Oh, it was awful.
Then it got better, and then this last week the chemistry was back to normal. But I could tell that Puma missed his boyfriend. I could tell he was down. I could tell it, and you can hear it in your voice. Just know that I miss you hard too. I'm just trying to stay busy.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm trying to stay busy, trying to just do shit. I've started the process of moving a lot of my stuff here in the apartment. So I had a Goodwill run yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Because I don't have the twins right now. They're back with their mama for the next 4 days. So I got to go. I've read 2 books in the last 3 weeks. 2.
Oh, did you finish the?
I did. I'll bring it to you.
Okay.
I finished the Jeff Traylor book. I'll read that to you. And I'm halfway through. What? I'm so depressed. I'm just reading
No,
books all day,
You
man.
literally just said, I'll read that to you. I finished the Jeff Traylor book. I'll read that to you.
No, is that what I said? I'll bring it to you.
That's
I meant to
correct.
say
You'll
I'll
bring it
you.
to me. Thank you.
Hell, I'm halfway through Val Kilmer's autobiography. I'm just reading
nice.
shit. I'm just trying
I
to
bet
kill the
that's-
time here,
yeah.
man. Just want to get home. So in the meantime, I'll go finish Val's book and bid you boys adieu. And we'll do we got radio tomorrow 4 to 7 on iHeartRadio, Ticket 760 in San Antonio, and AM 1300 The Zone in Austin, and of course globally on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you download podcasts. And then we'll be back to doing Mike Taylor live shows this week on Tuesday and Thursday. So be prepared to help with content for Tuesday because I'm beaten down and tired. The radio shows have gotten easy now that football season started. That means that because the radio shows are easier to prepare for, we got to make that Mike Taylor show sing.
That's correct.
Things got to hum. Got to have good
correct.
shit on there. All right, boys. Thank you, man. Any closing observationals, final Cowboy thoughts as we get ready to do this again tomorrow at 4?
Season saved, prayers, thoughts and prayers to the boom mic guy.
Yeah, he was staring into space. I bet he's concussed.
Yeah, he looked a little rattled. He
That's
had his
also-
bell rung.
And as a millennial who gets triggered easily, that's your way of saying get his old fucking ass off the field because
That's
you're a
correct.
mean man.
And
Correct. Okay.
open up a job for someone younger and more qualified.
Absolutely.
Like
All right, that's it.
Godspeed.
That's right. Put a fine Jen Zoomer in there. That's it. We're done. Thank you to DJ LG. Thank you to Puma. Thank you to the people. Thank you to Pickleball Giant. We'll see you boys on the radio Monday. We'll be back on Mike Taylor Live Tuesday. And we won't be back on Overreact until a week from tomorrow. Monday Night Football, baby. Cowboys and Giants a week from tomorrow night. We'll see y'all on the radio and on the TV and on the YouTube. Love you hard. Like, birds up. Damn near got it done. Played hard. Gave them hell.
Package.
Overreact is brought to you by Pickleball Giant.